where he's giving me a critique. But this is very close to this. So these two are in Rhinebeck, and that was New York City. And I try to move around when I'm doing these. And you can see here, these are some of the these are actual watercolors from the process. These are original drawings. This is the original drawing of the Institute of Contemporary Art that was realized in Richmond, Virginia. The big model is back there, and that's the beginning process. This is Princeton, where there's a sketch of the dancing stair. That was the original drawing for Princeton University, the Lewis Center for the Art. The big model is back there. This is the Franklin Marshall Winter Art Center, and we were just down in Lancaster, Pennsylvania last weekend with a big celebration with the president of the college and the main donor. And this project here is very important to me because in Manhattan, it's very difficult for someone like me. I don't do commercial too well. I like to do social buildings, buildings that give back to the people and to the children. So I was very proud to have this commission to build the Queens Community Library. And you can see here, here's the United Nations building by Oscar Niemeyer and Le Corbusier. This is the Franklin Delano Roosevelt Memorial, the only Louis Kahn building in New York, and there's my little library. I'm very proud of this. You see that kind of a triangle in the middle of the Big Apple, and there you see the section of the library. There's the children's section, the children's library, and on the roof there's a kind of cafe and an amphitheater. You can look across and you can see, well, you can see here. There it is under construction. It's an exoskeletal concrete frame, no columns. Everything is just spanning. And there you can see, there's the Roosevelt Memorial by Lou Kahn. And there it is under construction. There it is halfway finished. And here it is finished. And you can see, this is New York. It's all these condominiums, very expensive, and here's this community library. So I'm very proud of this building. It's kind of like, it's about the children, it's about books, it's about public space, it's a community. And I'm proud that even though these are very big buildings, this building has a presence as a public building. And I think that's very important. And there's the Kennedy Center. This probably was the most difficult project. You see, because this is John Fitzgerald Kennedy, this building was going to be the main culture. This is a very big building. I mean, there it is there. A very big building in Washington, D.C. It's the largest performing arts and cultural center building in America. It's open 360 days a year, and it has, it has an opera house, a concert hall. It has it's a giant building. And our charge was to make an expansion, and we put performance rehearsal spaces, a cafe, a glissando pavilion for events, and we put most of it underground and connected it above ground. And it's a long story, but that building opened just before COVID, and now it has a beautiful landscape, and it has a simulcast projection, so people can, when there's an opera going on, they have a simulcast projection here. So I think President Kennedy would have been very happy with that, because these seats in the opera house are like $300 a seat, and here the people can be for free outside and see the simulcast projection. Very democratic, a democratic statement.
Steven, the third pavilion originally was a floating pavilion on the river.
Yeah, this was floating here, and then those people in the rowboats, you see them there, they protested, and they won. So I moved it up here, but it works better because it's still called the River Pavilion, and there's a cafe, and there's a performance space inside, and there's tables outside. This is a gorgeous place to be in Washington, D.C. And we did the whole landscape of this whole park, and I'm very proud of that. And here is the Princeton Lewis Center for the Arts. There's a black box theater there. There's a forum. This is music rehearsal. Orchestral rehearsal is here. The music individual rehearsal rooms are suspended. Actually, you can see here the building it opened in 2017. And this is very unique, never been done before. These are individual rehearsal rooms. They're suspended on steel rods, so they have acoustic separation. Very beautiful and all in wood. And the beams run this way, and the glass is on cables, almost like a musical instrument. And that's orchestral rehearsal space, which is down below. So this building is all about music. And there's the Institute for Advanced Studies in Princeton. This is a building, this building is going to have a statue of Einstein. David Rubenstein is the main donor, and it's a small building, and that's under construction now, and that'll open in about 3-4 months. And this is the Glaselle School of Art. This is a building that was part of a master plan for the Museum of Fine Arts in Houston, the largest cultural project in America, which we just finished. It just opened last year. And this was the first phase. And there's a master plan sketch, and I think it's the watercolors on that table over there that showed the process. There was an international competition. There was an existing school here, and they wanted to build a 7-story parking garage in order to service the new museum. And we said, no, you shouldn't do that. You should build a new school, put all the parking underground so nobody can see it, and then you have free for the museum. And that's what we did. Therefore, we ended up building 2 buildings there. This is the school, 80,000 square feet. There you can see the structure. This building is made out of what you're looking at is the facade is the structure. So these are precast concrete pieces that form the language of the building, and the floors are poured, and then these hold up the next floor. So you can see how it's going together. So these are the columns. These slabs. These were precast in Waco, Texas, and every art studio. These are art education spaces, painting studios, and sculpture studios, and they all have operable window for natural ventilation, natural air to all the spaces, and so that's a very economical way. But it's a building that actually tells you how it's made. It has a kind of, it tells you the story of how it's made. This sort of, and I'm really proud of this exhibition being mounted so well here in OSTRAVA. And I told the curator I love the idea of the blank wall, and how the idea was, the curator was Nina Sprichter Levine, so she wrote the text. So when you come in here and you read this text, she's an academic, she's a scholar. She's done books on Oliver Alto and all these people. So I'm not trying, I'm doing a walkthrough. I'm just talking. But if you want to really get into these ideas about the notion of making architecture, that's what this is about. So there's no pictures of finished buildings in here. They're all under construction, and it's all about the models. We always make models, and it's about the watercolor drawings. And then in the back here, there of course is OSTRAVA, which is the most important. This is the most important piece of the exhibition, and because it has actually the original drawings right from 10/25/18 when we made the competition drawing, and I was making that in one of those studio views that I showed you. I was making that drawing, and then I came and I showed my wife, Dimitra Zakrelia, who's also an architect, and I said, I had this idea that we could make the main entrance on the esplanade where all the noise and action is, but we make the concert hall on the garden side where it's quiet and where you could have a view onto the landscape. She said, I think it's a winning idea. So that's the original drawing. This is another one, a perfect acoustic instrument in its case. 11/7/18. We're still in the first round. There were 10 architects, I think, in the first round, and it came down to 3. And that's an idea about putting OSTRAVA on the map. But, the notion of the new and the old being, simpatico, being related to each other. That's very, and here you have, inside you have views. This is the idea of natural light in the main entrance hall, and views to the garden and water. which all of those things are still in the drawings now. So when you enter this building, it's a kind of event on the esplanade, but it's very small. It's very, and then up the escalators, which are also the light fixtures. We're using Czech cast glass to make the light become a kind of artistic element, and I'll show you that tomorrow in the lecture. And then the building goes over the top without touching the existing building. And then the main hall, of course, is back here. If you come around, you can take a look here in this section. You can see how this building just doesn't hardly touch the existing building, coming up over the top. 1,300 seats, perfect acoustics by Nagata Acoustics. They're the best. They did all the great halls, Frank Gehry, Disney Hall, Jean Nouvel's hall in Paris. So we've been working very closely with them to get the acoustics, the perfect acoustic instrument in its case, which is the concept of the building. And I will show that in more detail tomorrow.